Okay, well, we're live.
Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. We're excited to answer some of your questions about the course, and then any other random questions that you guys have, we'll be answering those too. So, where will I see those? Okay, there they
I've
are.
got 'em over
Got it.
here.
Okay. So, first of all, the course, the beginner hymns course, is officially available on the website, natalierainsmusic.com. Okay? And let me answer a few of these. Someone says, will Josh give a free demo of what he has learned so far?
Yes, eventually, maybe next week. I've gotten through the first few lessons, and I actually was working on Jesus Loves Me tonight while
Really?
you were gone. Yeah, I about got it.
I was
So
gone because I had a Christmas music rehearsal with my sister, Stacy, who you guys are all going to meet on Monday night. We are doing a live Christmas concert in a studio. It's going to be super fun. Christmas lights, all the colors. It's going to be great. So she and I were doing some rehearsal over there, and you were practicing.
mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, we'll see some demos of his progress. Okay, Becky wants to know where the download of the sheet music is.
That will be in the email that you will get after you purchase the course. It's going to send you an email, and all of those downloads are going to live in that email forever. So if you ever can't find them, go to your email, download them again, whatever you have to do.
And the free music for When I Survey that you can get just a sample for free is available on the homepage. So I think there's a red button right there, or a white button, and you can just click on it and it'll take you to that song. So there's a lesson for free on YouTube for When I Survey, like a sample of what the course looks like. And then you can also watch that lesson on the homepage, right on, if you open my website, it's going to be the top thing there. So you can see how the lesson works. And I got some sweet comments. You guys say that you've already been watching that sample lesson. So thank you. Thank you for watching it. And I hope that's just a little taste of what you're going to get in the course. So, okay, let's see. How did you and Josh meet? Says Crystal.
We met in a community choir that we both joined 3 years ago.
Yep. At the choir bonfire. And we started talking and never stopped.
That's right.
So, and I'm glad. Okay, let's see. All right.
So if anybody on, let's see, there's 300 of you watching supposedly. So if any of you have questions about the new course or old course or anything else really, we're ready to answer,
We'll answer
them.
them. Okay. So Lou asked, can the videos be downloaded to a tablet? They're not downloaded. You just can watch them right on the website. So after you purchase, you get a link for all the sheet music files, and then you watch the videos actually on the website. You get a username and a password, and your password is included in your confirmation email. So then you can change it to something you'd be more likely to remember. I think it gives you some crazy hard one. So reset that thing and then just log in with your username and password, and then you can select to stay logged in so you don't have to do that every time, and then you'll click on your course, or you can access it straight from your confirmation email. So it's super easy to get all those videos. Okay, Jane wants to know, does the website have all the information for how the course works?
Yes.
We try to make it easy.
If you go to the website, it's like the first thing that you see. It's on the homepage, and you can click on to buy the course. You can also watch the sample lesson, download the sample stuff. It's all right there.
Yeah. So while you're watching with us now, tell us where you're watching from. We want to know, try to hit all 50 states for this. It looks like there's a good number of you guys on here. So thanks for joining us for this little Q&A. Okay, let's see. Someone asked, Lori wants to know if I'm going to have the arrangement for I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day that I played Sunday night. I'm not going to be able to get that on the website before Christmas, so I'll have to shoot for that one happening next year. We'll see. Okay. Is this suitable for an 8-year-old? Martha wants to know.
Probably. I think it's pretty simple. I mean,
With a parent
yeah.
helping with the technology aspect, I think more than anything else. They can comprehend the lessons. I think
maybe you should talk a little bit about the course in general. Too,
okay.
Since we haven't.
It is named Hymns for Beginners, and it literally starts at white and black keys. And, why are they grouped together the way they are? And then the next lesson is on what are the letter names? The musical alphabet goes A to G. So then what are all the letter names and how do they repeat and where do you find them on the keyboard? And then there's another lesson on note values, like why do they look different? Some have a stem and the head is all filled in and it's black, and then some, the head's not filled in and it's empty. What do those mean? Some have flags. So I explain all what those mean, and those are the things you're going to see in the lessons. And then we jump into how to play in the key of C. And then you get 6 hymns in the key of C, 5 or 6, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then it goes
5 of each.
Okay, so then it goes to G, how to play in the key of G, and then those additional hymns, and then how to play in the key of F, and then a bunch more hymns. So actually the sample lesson you see for When I Survey, you'll find that later in the course. So you will have learned a lot by the time you get to that point. So we make it that if all you have is a keyboard but no experience, that's who it's for. Or if you feel like, I know a little bit, but I've probably forgotten most of it, then that's who it's for. So yes, it's good for kids too. You just may want to have a parent helping with the technology side of things, like printing off their music and getting them into the course. Okay, let's see.
All right, so we had a question. How long are the lessons and how long should one expect to spend on each lesson?
They range, the shortest one is 4 minutes, and that's for the pedal. The longest one, I think, is 26 minutes, and it's over, I believe note values is the longest lesson, because it goes into like how to make a chord and hold it and things like that. So there's a lot of content covered. Give yourself some time to pause the video and practice something I say, and I will say that through the course. I'll say pause it and watch as I write in this right here, and you take your pencil and write it in as well. So I'd say give yourself maybe 30 minutes to an hour when you sit down to practice. And if you only have 15 minutes, watch a lesson, try to learn something. But I'd aim for 30 minutes.
Yeah. I would say that if you really are like starting from zero as a beginner, the first 5 lessons are going to be, you might literally spend a week or more on each lesson, like sections of the lesson. It's going to be kind of how hard you work on it until you kind of get the fundamentals of, notes and start, getting your fingers working and yeah. But once you get rolling, I mean, I don't know. I'd say to do it well, you're probably going to want to spend several, it might take 30 minutes to go through the lesson, and then you'll want to take a few more days at least and practice what you went over on that lesson before you're ready to move on, at least from section to section.
It's true.
Okay.
Someone asked where they could get the CD.
The CD, it's available on the website as well. Mm-hmm. It's on the homepage if you scroll all the way down to the bottom.
Or in the shop.
Right.
So, and we'll ship it to you. Okay, Joseph and Robin asked if they play the piano strictly from the hymn book, will this course be a benefit? I have another course for people who play strictly from the hymn book, and it's called Foundations in Hymn Playing. And it teaches you how to take the 4 notes that you already know how to play in your hymnal and expand that. So that's really for the note reader who only knows how to read the 4 notes that are there and doesn't really know how to fill in around it, and they want it to sound more full. Foundations is for you. Or the person who plays by ear but really doesn't have a lot of the foundational things of, why does a scale work the way it does, and how do you make a chord do different things instead of just always be the same. So it's for the person who plays by ear and needs a few more tools to add to their hymn playing. And then for the note reader who feels kind of just limited, like creatively, I have the course Basic Congregational Accompaniment. And that one is 20 lessons for 20 hymns, and it includes 20 pieces of sheet music with lots of fill-ins already added into it, so you can see how that would work.
Okay. Someone says, what is my musical background? They said, I say that I don't have any musical background, but that can't be true. It kind of is. Like, I guess my musical background is I took one semester of piano lessons in third grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was part of like our elementary school competition choir, but not because I had talent, just because every kid had to be in the choir.
But I love those choirs. It gives kids a chance.
I've always liked to sing, but I didn't have any technical knowledge about music whatsoever until I think I was 25, in my mid to late 20s, before I learned how to sing a harmony part at all. So,
but he's a very good singer, and if you get our family CD, you can hear him on several songs. So that was one of the first things I noticed about him when we were sitting. We happened to end up sitting beside each other at that choir bonfire a few years ago, and they did like a sing-along down there, some bunch of Christmas carols or hymns or something. I guess it would have been hymns because it was October. And so you can tell I have Christmas carols on my brain. So we're all singing hymns, and he's like harmonizing tenor over there. And I thought, oh my goodness, he can sing. So.
I had practiced by then.
Well, it impressed me a lot.
Let's see.
Okay, Kimberly wants to know, does it cost anything to take the class? Yes, and right now it's an introductory price of $98. So it's like, 5 hours of content, 4.5, something like that. It's a lot of content for $98 right now. So that's a introductory price. It's on sale.
Okay, here's a good question. I know somewhat how to read notes and their values, but when I play chords and a little melody. And I'm lacking some fill-ins. So which course should I take first?
Nose, chords, and a little melody.
And a little
lacking fill-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Are they a note reader? I think
Yes.
I missed that part. If you're a note reader and you feel pretty good about your note reading skills and you're needing to learn fill-ins, I would say start with basic congregational accompaniment, because that'll give you some confidence. Sometimes note readers really need to see something on the page, and I totally understand that. When it's like you hear it and you want to imitate it, but it would really help you to see it. That's what the basic congregational accompaniment does. So if you're really wanting to challenge yourself, like, okay, I know how to read the notes in the hymnal, I've got to learn how to do the fill-ins. The Foundations course is based on time signature. Every lesson is a different time signature. So you learn fill-ins that work for certain chord progressions and all that stuff. So,
does the course include teaching about higher and lower notes, treble and bass clef?
yes, it does. I mentioned ledger line notes that are above the staff, but most of the music you'll read is within the staff. The left hand moves down a few times for some different chord patterns. So I see that my granddad's watching, Papa Richie, and he asked, can you go back and review as often as needed? And yes, I recommend that you might need to watch these lessons a couple times to really digest it. So yes, you'll have lifetime access to the course. So you can go back and watch the lessons as often as you need to.
Okay, the course, this is Jeff Coombs.
Yes.
I think he already had it, did he not? Anyway, the course seemed basic. I guess that's from the sample. Is a refresher of some of the rests and chords and scales a part of this course?
Yes, it is. So I go over the C scale, the F scale, and the G scale. So it covers those keys, and it goes over note values and rests for sure. So we review, it really is, if you didn't know anything at all, you'll learn it. And if you knew it but kind of forgot it and need a refresher, that's what it will be for you. So it's for those three keys. So we're planning on releasing a second edition of the beginner course that will cover a couple more keys, more hymns, maybe add a couple extra challenges. So look for that in early 2021.
Charlotte Vaughn says, I only have a 70 key keyboard. Will that be adequate for the course?
It will. And you don't have to have a full 88 key to play the songs, because I keep them pretty close to the middle of the keyboard. You're not going to have to go too far in either direction, because that takes a lot of mobility and muscle control, like knowing where to move your hand. So sometimes that just takes a while to get comfortable with the whole landscape of the keyboard. But I do recommend getting a good 88 key keyboard as soon as possible. But as long as you can find middle C on your 70 key keyboard, you'll be fine in the course.
Let's see. Are we ever in the Winston-Salem area? We have
We are.
been. We were up there. I don't know. We do make it up there occasionally. Usually a couple times a year.
Is that
So,
near Charlotte?
Winston-Salem?
Yeah.
No, not really. That's where we were. That's closer, more like the Walkertown area than, than Charlotte.
I'm geographically somewhat challenged. But I married Prince Henry the Navigator, so it's all good.
How can I gift the course to someone?
That is such a good question. I would recommend buying a gift card. A gift card is an option on the website, and you can just input the person's email address that you're sending it to and add a note to them. So then they can actually use the gift card to sign up for the course, because when you register for the course, it uses your email address. So I already had someone today that bought it for someone else, and then they emailed and said, oh, I need this changed over for someone else. So I'm going to work on that and see if I can figure out a way to do that. But if you're planning to gift it to another person, I'd go with a gift card on the website, sends it right to them.
Okay. Can you repeat the lesson over and over?
As many times as you need to. You can hit pause and go back to the beginning, or if you finish the lesson, you can just click right back on it on the website and watch it again.
Do you have a course for those who play by ear but would like to be fuller?
Yes, Foundations in Hymn Playing. So that's the first course we ever did, and that's really who I had in mind when I made it, was the pianist who, you know, a lot of churches that I've become acquainted with in the past few years, they may have a pianist who basically knew a little bit more than anybody else, but doesn't feel confident as the pianist, and yet they're having to do this 3 times a week, 2 times a week. And so we designed Foundations for that person to be able to learn some fill-ins and things to make their playing sound more energetic and more full. And then you learn how the fill-in works, and then you can apply it to lots of other songs. So yeah, that's who that course is for.
I played saxophone for 30 years. How would it be to learn piano?
Man, if you're already a note reader, you have a big step already conquered.
It's mostly at that point
Yeah.
getting your hands into it. I've already noticed my hands feeling kind of cramped and sore.
Oh no.
Just because I don't play the piano. I
But you're
play the
practicing.
keyboard.
I played the saxophone for one traumatic year. And if you ask my family members about it, they will describe it that way. My mom had me practice on the porch. It was that bad. So, man, props to somebody who's played for 30 years. I dreamed of being a wonderful saxophone player.
Do you know Gene Ritchie?
I do.
He wants to know if you can go back and review as often as needed.
Yes, that's my granddad. So, yes, you can go back and review.
Does Foundations cover some of the refresher things?
The first lesson does, yes. So I included a lesson at the beginning, and it's on basic scales, chords, and theory. So if you've done the introductory course and then you take Foundations, there would be some parts of it that would be challenging, but if you're really a serious student, what I'd recommend doing after you finish the beginner set is to practice playing from a hymnal. Like, practice hands separately. You're going to hear me say that 100 times in the course. Hands separately. Don't try to do it both hands at once. I know you want to, but you've got to get used to what that feels like. So I'd say practice hands separately from a hymnal till you can do it together. And then you'd be okay to take Foundations. There are some things, though, that we hope to release some additional courses to get you ready for that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Who plays the guitars that are sometimes in the background? That would be me, but I'm average at best, especially when I don't practice and I don't practice much anymore. I should work on it. I
like
just
to
play
hear you
for
play.
fun. When I get an itch, I'll sit down and play something. Okay.
He plays really well. I know I'm biased, but okay, let's see. Okay, someone said, Larry says, I play straight from the hymn book and add some. Would it be good to take the course? I'd say take Foundations if you are wanting to learn to add more to your hymn playing that you already do. So someone who's already a note reader, already using this kind of thing, go with Foundations or basic congregational accompaniment. Hymns for Beginners is for the true beginner. Or if you play by ear, I had someone text me this morning. They said, okay, I play by ear, but I don't know how to read the music at all, and I really don't know what all I'm doing. And I said, take the beginner hymns, because it's going to kind of fill in those gaps, like helping you keep a steady rhythm, helping you read the sheet music, all that stuff.
Let's see. So do a quick summary of who the 3 courses are for.
Okay.
So you have beginner hymn playing. That's the new one. And that is for anybody who has never played at all, or someone who wants to learn to read music that may already play but not read music, but wants to add that. That would be a good place to start. All right.
Foundations would be for the person who plays by ear and wants to learn better fill-ins and maybe missing some music theory type things. Or the church pianist who has a really solid theory base and you could sight read from a hymnal without missing a note, but you really don't know what to do to add to it. So I have had a lot of pianists talk to me who say, I'm classically trained. I can play anything that's put in front of me that's, hard classical pieces, but I don't really understand how hymn playing works, because you do more than what's on the page. So how do you know what to do? That's who Foundations is for, the ear player or the person who doesn't know how to fill in. And then Basic Congregational Accompaniment is for the note reader who doesn't know anything about like chord patterns and making your left hand move, but you can read music, so if you saw it, you'd know what to do. That's who Basic Congregational Accompaniment is for. So if you're an ear player, you could benefit from Basic Congregational Accompaniment by the video lessons, but the sheet music is really designed, the lessons are designed to help the person who's reading the sheet music to see how the patterns work and how to make those connections in other songs.
Okay. After, sorry, I lost my place. After I have completed this course, would I be prepared to take the Foundations course, or is there something in between?
I think I kind of answered that one.
There needs to be something in between.
And we're planning to
and it doesn't exist yet, but it will. That's our next task.
Soon.
Probably the first. It should be done by spring, Lord willing.
Okay.
You have another question?
Laura says, I'm a note reader but not confident. What course do you recommend? If you're already a hymn player, like if you're learning to play by ear a little bit, I'd say go with Foundations, because if you kind of see the connections for how they work by ear, then go with that one. If you don't have any ear training at all and you're a little bit of a note reader, I'd say, yes, okay. This one. I'd say go with Basic Congregational Accompaniment if your goal is to get more confident as a note reader. So I think that answers that question, I hope. Okay, let's see.
The one above that question, David?
If you read music, can you learn to play by ear?
Okay, so you're not seeing the
Oh,
notes.
wait, here's this one. I know the treble clef. Okay. David or Mag says, I know the treble clef, but the bass clef stumps me. That's where I need to start, though I know chords and keys. So Hymns for Beginners goes through the bass clef as well. And I can't tell you how many pianists I've heard say, I know the treble clef, but I don't know the bass clef. So yes, you'll learn both in this course.
My brother plays very well. I struggle to play and have tried to learn since I retired. Do you feel some people just have a special talent?
The teacher in me says everybody can learn. So I am very reluctant to say, yeah, some people just get it and some people just don't. I think there are some people that are gifted and they pick it up quickly and they can just, it seems like it comes easily to them. I know that. I think God divinely gifts some people with that skill. But I also think that if you work hard enough at a skill, you're going to get good at it. So that I've never been able to say, yeah, I don't think piano's for him. I'm like, no, anybody can learn. Just work hard.
Does Josh deer hunt?
Yes. He does. And so I've learned to cook venison. And I love it. I grew up eating it. My dad and brother and granddad all hunt, so it's not new. It's new to have to cook it.
Okay. If someone reads notes, is it possible for them to learn to play by ear?
Yes, it is. And that's really what the Foundations course does, is it kind of shows you, okay, this is what it looks like. This is how to put it into practice. by ear. So yes, I think you can learn. And I would say for piano teachers who are teaching young children, do a lot of ear training, like intervals, having them hear the space between notes, having them hear the chords. Say, am I playing the 1 chord or the 4 chord? Tell me which one it is. Okay, count your downbeat. I want to hear you start a time signature. You're just going to listen to me play and tell me what I'm counting, that kind of thing. So do lots of ear training, even for kids.
Do you play some songs in chords only? I don't know if does this lesson approach it, but
okay.
So,
as far as the
chording.
course goes,
I don't know. It's not specified.
so I teach you how to make a chord. Like a plain C chord would be C, E, G. And you just play them all 3 at the same time. And then what you do with that information is you say, okay, now I can break it up into different patterns, maybe play them all separately, play them back and forth. So yes, it's all based on chords for your left hand, but you learn lots of different ways to use the same chord, so your playing has variety. So yes, it's in chords, but we take it a step further.
Yes, there is a sample of this lesson or of this course, and you can find the sample video on YouTube at Natalie Rains Music, also on the website at natalierainsmusic.com, where you can also download a free copy of the sheet music that goes along with that lesson.
Yep. Janie says, I played organ as a child. I don't read music very well or very fast. Which course would you suggest for me to take? I'd probably start with hymns for beginners. If your goal is to learn to read the music more quickly and have a better understanding of how that works, starting with simple hymns is a much better path than if you try to read more difficult music, because then it's just exasperating. So I'd say start with easy stuff and then get a little bit of confidence in your note reading, gain a little bit of speed, that kind of thing, and then you can move on to greater things.
Do you teach kids, and if so, how young?
I do teach kids. I'm not currently accepting any new one-on-one students. We're going to start adding some Zoom hymn playing classes that'll be live in January. But I have taught as young as 4, and I think 4-year-olds can learn really effectively if the parent practices with them daily. So if it's a case of, I want my child to take, but the parent may not be willing to practice with them, you better wait till they're 7 or 8. So my mom practiced with us. If you've seen our YouTube interview where I talked to my mom right here on this couch, she talked about sitting there and practicing with us kids for an hour and a half at a time. She said she'd practice with us till we got tired. So,
what software do you use to prepare the sheet music?
Finale. So.
We don't currently have like a special price if someone wants all 3 courses. That very well may be a possibility. Before this, we only had 2. Now we have 3. So we're getting there.
Plans to make a 4th.
Yes.
So let's see. Do I play the organ? Or maybe they're asking you, do you play the organ?
I don't play it.
I've had 1 organ lesson in my life, and I have played. I end up playing the organ in some church services we go into, and I love it. I have a good time. But you have to think differently as an organist, so that's... Okay, Larry says, I have problems with sharps, usually changing to flats. Okay, so I met Otis Forrest years ago at a service where our youth choir from my church was singing, and I was the pianist. I was like 17. And he was the pianist, and he's like a Dove Award-winning pianist. He's just a great Southern gospel pianist. Well, he was clearly very efficient, and I didn't know who he was, but I thought, man, who is this, And so after our choir sang, he sat behind me the whole time we sang, and when we were done, he said, you don't play like a girl. And I thought, what is that? Oh, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I didn't have a clue. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, do you know who I am? And I said, I don't think so. And he said, Otis Forrest. And I remembered my mom had given me a CD of the 10 great Southern gospel pianists and like just a bunch of kind of a montage, I guess. And he was one of the ones on there. And I thought, oh, I do know who this is. And I had a question that had kind of been burning on my mind. And I asked him, I said, can you tell me, like, should I be able to play in every single key as well as C? Like, are the other keys like E and B and F sharp, are they useful? You know, because I really hadn't played them in church. And he said, you need to be able to play in every single key as easily as you can play in C. And I went home and started practicing every song I knew in B because I thought B was just the hardest key to play in because I didn't want to be limited to only playing in certain keys. So I'll admit B's not always the most fun key to play it in, but you want to be able to play them in all. So resist the urge to change everything over to flats. I know that's hard. A lot of pianists don't like sharps.
Okay, Sawyer Pearson says, I can read music, but not confidently. Same goes for playing by ear. I can do it, but have to take my time. Because of that, I tend to do both while I'm playing for church. What course would you recommend?
Ooh. If your goal, Sawyer, is really to learn more full fill-ins, like how do I play, I would say go with Foundations because it's kind of designed for the pianist at your level of note reading where it's like, I know what this is, but when you're singing Living by Faith, you may not have time. You may be hearing it in your head as well as trying to grasp the notes on the page. So note reading comes in very handy. I'm a big advocate for learning to read notes. I just am. I think you ought to be able to do both. So I'm really glad that you're doing both. So I'd say probably start with Foundations. And then if you want to strengthen your note reading, go with basic congregational accompaniment after that.
My 2 cents are, if your goal is to be a church pianist, like if that's what your primary motivation and what you're working at, I think you should learn to read music as soon as you can because inevitably you're going to need to play something you don't know.
Yeah.
And it probably will happen a lot.
It happens to me a lot. This is the song leader, and he'll call out a page number that I've never heard before, and I'll sit there and sight read in front of everybody. So, and our pastor is going to be taking the course, and I'm super excited about that. And he said his goal is not just to be able to sit down and maybe play a song on the piano, though that would be cool. He wants to gain more musical knowledge, like he's in the choir. So, you know, when we learn new choir songs, you know, why do the basses have to go up high on this one note and then move back down? Because of where it sits on the staff. And so he's taking it for that reason. So even if you're just a church musician in the choir, but you kind of wish you had a little bit more of a clue about what's going on and you feel kind of overwhelmed, Hymns for Beginners is for you too. So it's not just for the person who needs to play. So.
Yes. Okay. Do you play for weddings? Says Emily Ann.
Emily Ann. That's my sister. Yes, I do play for weddings. You can find all the info on the website. We did our wedding I did the first wedding when I was 12. I don't know why someone trusted a 12-year-old to do their music, but they did, and it went well. So I'm thankful. All right, let's see. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything.
All right. Terry Nelson. I'm not a beginner, but I'm definitely not advanced. I really need to learn fill-ins and how to play in keys other than C, B flat, E flat, and G.
I would go with asking which course.
What do you recommend?
Basic congregational accompaniment, because there are some songs in A flat. We plan on producing a more advanced course that deals with a lot of other keys, but if your goal is to learn more fill-ins in more keys and you're already a note reader but more basic congregational accompaniment is the way to go. It's very full sounding, but they're very pattern based. So like once you notice what the left hand pattern is, you'll start seeing some repeated passages. So it's not like you look at both pages of the music and go, I can't play all this. This is too many notes. Like it will be pattern based. So once you learn it, you'll see how to just repeat it or use it in a slightly different way.
Okay.
Does Natalie have a favorite key to play in more than others, says Jeff.
No, she doesn't.
Not really, but I'll admit I've been practicing some of these Christmas songs like Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire and I'll Be Home for Christmas and some of those that they really have a lot of weird chords and I tend to always start in C. So maybe that's my favorite for Christmas songs right now. I don't know.
All right. Would you ever be able to give us lessons or YouTube sessions on how to accompany a singer or a group singing a special.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
Good idea. That sounds like it would be a great Zoom class topic.
And please feel free to tell us. We're planning to start Zoom classes, which are going to be live, but they're more like group, and there'll be some Q&A at the end and all that stuff. So please tell us if there are topics that you're like, I would really love to see a 40-minute Zoom session on this topic. I need some help on this. Left hand patterns, or how to fill in around the melody instead of just always having your right hand play something. So please feel free, give us all the comments. We really do take them into consideration and get ideas from them. So you guys are a very helpful group.
Tim Morris says, can you do some more tutorials? And I'm going to say, what would you like to see?
Yeah.
More specifically. You have one?
Let's see. Wesley says, I have taken piano lessons as a kid and for 2 years in high school. Do you have a course improving keeping time while playing? The hymns for beginners, I really go into a lot of effort at teaching rhythm, good, steady rhythm. So if you kind of know a little bit about music, but your rhythm is really off, I'd say go with that one, even if maybe some of the music is a little more basic, because it will help you keep a steady beat. So you may be able to take the simple music and add a little around it if you can hear some things like that, but keeping a steady beat will be easier, I think, on easier sheet music.
Okay. Who are some of your favorite pianists to listen to that others can listen to?
Okay, I'll tell you 3 that I really enjoy, and this is not, I'm going to leave out 1,000, so there's really phenomenal pianists, and there are lots of
Your
them.
favorites.
My favorites, okay. So this is who I tend to listen to at home when I'm just here, and that would be Miss Kim Collingsworth, of course, and then I really love listening to Gerald Wolfe's piano hymns. He has a 100 piano hymns album on Apple Music that I'll put on the Bluetooth and just let it play through the house, and it's so relaxing. And then Stan Whitmire. Those are my 3 favorites to listen to here at home.
I think she listens to Stan Whitmire the most.
Yeah. When we're having company, I'll usually put one of his albums on just in the background. So.
Okay. What is the best way to enhance congregational hymn playing so that it sounds fuller? That's a very large question.
You can find more information in our hymn playing courses. I'd say use octaves in both hands and longer rolling patterns instead of keeping your hands close together. Like, make more use of more of the keyboard than just staying in the middle. Lots of pianists are afraid of that top end and low end. Like, move your hand down, but not too far down. Don't let your left hand play chords too close to the end of the keyboard, or it sounds really growly.
What time is the concert Monday?
7 p.m. Thank you for reminding me. My sister and I are doing a piano, violin Christmas concert at a studio, and it's at 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday. So we'll be live playing lots of Christmas songs.
Have we finished the church hymnal yet? No. That has been on the back burner due to Christmas music, but we actually almost recorded another round of it today, but we didn't get to it. But it's coming up.
Yep. Okay. If we have missed your question, we are looking for it. I don't want to miss anybody's question if we're able to get it. So, someone said, what instrument would you consider I can only play by ear? If you're serious about learning an instrument, I would say try to learn to read music. That's a great approach for learning an instrument. Specifically, I'm a pianist, so that's what I'd recommend. I know some guitar teachers teach by ear, so you can play guitar. That'd be an idea. So, all right, let's see. Anything else?
Yes, the concert will be on YouTube. It'll actually be live on YouTube as well. So it'll be live on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can find it in either place. And so you can watch it afterwards too, if you miss it.
Renee says, I'm taking piano lessons. How long does it take before playing? Would I be able to play out of the church hymnal? That totally depends on how much you practice. So I had a student start last November, and she was able to start playing basic hymns for her church in like March, April. Like, she really worked hard to figure out what she was doing. I didn't want to just teach her a few songs by memory and then her be limited. So we really did start at the beginning so she could play a lot of stuff. And she really worked hard. So I think if you're willing to commit the time to learning a lot of it, it's like learning to read a new language, because you're learning to associate where a note sits on the staff to where that is on the keyboard. And that just takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. So give yourself some time to learn it, but also just know that if you are willing to practice, an hour or more a day, you're going to learn very, very quickly, and you'll be able to sight read out of a hymnal pretty soon. So, where do you live? We live in beautiful South Carolina. How long have y'all been married? You answer that one.
20 months.
Whoa, good job.
I cheated. We answered that question a few days ago, so I'd already calculated the number.
So, and our wedding is on Facebook. So our family page is Rain's Family and Victory Song, and we've shared music on that page for about 3 years now. And so we went live that April 12th for our wedding.
All right. Most inspirational pianist you looked up to when you were young?
Probably my dad.
Other than your dad.
Oh, that's not fair.
Who said that? Casey Knoll.
My dad. I can't say, because as a kid, Dad was who I heard playing with that full energetic style, and I just loved it. So, and we'd hear from all these people that said, your dad helped me when I was a teenager, and now this is how I play. And I would just think, oh, that's the coolest thing. So, and Dad really is the one who showed me, like, get your right hand in a four note octave, like play the chord in the middle and 2 notes on the other side. So, yeah, I've learned a lot from him. He's a great gospel pianist. Someone said, how old is the oldest student you've ever taught? I can't give away their age, but I'd say upper 60s, I think. 70s maybe? I'm not sure. I don't ask people their age.
What gear software do you use for recording your lives? And what brand of audio interface? So, I use a Zoom L8. That's what I use for all of my mixing, and I use it as an audio interface for the lives. And I just record the lives in OBS. Actually, everything I've been doing recently was recorded on OBS, which I don't know that that's really the best way, but it seems to be the best way for now.
I know nothing about that part of it, so I get emailed a lot. What equipment do you use for your live streams? And I think a black camera and a stand thing that it sits on. So, yeah, I'm not.
Yes, we will be live on both YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. I was planning on starting that the first of the year, but so that is coming.
Someone says, where is Emily? She is hanging out at my grandparents' house tonight in Tennessee. We're all actually headed there for a service tomorrow. So.
Yeah, they're all on.
Oh, yeah.
Commenting, your dad and your sister.
Okay.
So.
How long will the introductory price last? I haven't decided. So I want to make it accessible for as many people as possible, because I really get excited about this kind of stuff and watching people learn and progress and gain a new skill that you can use to serve the Lord or for your own enjoyment or just playing hymns for your own worship in your home. I just think it's wonderful. So I want to make people be able to have that possible. So.
Did you have days you did not want to play the piano?
Yes.
She still has those days occasionally.
Just sometimes when you're tired, but as a middle schooler, I begged my parents to let me quit. I said, please let me quit. You know, most of my friends had gotten to quit, and I was still having to take lessons, and I really did not want to do it in 7th grade. And my dad very kindly and firmly told me to just persevere through the hard spot, and I'm so glad, because it was about a year and a half later, like between 8th and 9th grade, when I really caught it, and I thought, I want to do this the rest of my life. So if you're a parent and you have a child who loved it at first because it was fun and new, and then now they're in the hard spot, then you carry the vision just long enough for them to catch it, because they will catch it. They really will. I've never met an adult that said, man, I wish I didn't know how to play the piano, or an adult that said, I'm glad my parents let me quit. Like, most people will say, I wished I had been, had to persevere through that tough spot. So, that's life. You do hard things, you get good results.
Okay.
Is Emily the nanny for the Collingsworth family? Yes, she is. So,
did you get in a lot of trouble, or was it always Emily's fault?
Emily and I were two peas in a pod. I'm the second in the birth order, and Emily's the fourth. So we have an older sister and a brother, and in between Emily and I. And I feel like Emily and I were compadres. We got into stuff. So
how many lessons are in the new course?
23.
Plus
the bonus
one? Yes. So that's 23, and then there's the one that's free and available to everyone. Mm-hmm. So 24 total if you take that one, which would have been the last lesson. So if it's a little bit hard, that's why.
Do you think someone at 82 can learn the piano? I think so. I say that's a great time to learn a new skill. My granddad's almost 80 and he's learning the banjo. So he'll get his banjo out and we'll play when we're all there. So that's fun. Okay, let's see.
All right. I think we're about ready to wind it down. So. Greetings from Monterrey, Mexico.
Yay, thank you guys. When are y'all going to get together with Victory Song again? Hopefully soon. We love those people. So the viral video that went, if you've seen it, the four of us rotating and all that stuff, we don't see them very often. That was a very spontaneous thing. We live in 3 different states. All 4 of us do. So we don't get together as often as we like. But when we do, we like to make some music. So,
what kind of piano do you have?
I have a Kauai CA40A. So it's the Concert Artist Series. And my dad picked it out for me. And it was a wedding gift from my parents and grandparents. So very, very sentimental value in addition to being a really wonderful instrument. So that was very special. They gave it to me at our rehearsal dinner.
Yes.
And I burst out crying. I was so surprised.
Not until you found out it was yours.
Yes, when they said it was mine. I said, oh, can't believe it. So.
Okay. Well, feel free to ask more questions, comment. We'll get back with you on all that. Is there a video of when you were given the piano? I
think so. If Emily's still watching, she can comment and answer, but I think she has it on her phone. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's sweet. Someone says Lisa says, my husband is our church pianist and has learned so much from your weekly sessions. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching. We are amazed at that, and we love sharing it, and I could not even possibly do it if Josh wasn't handling all this stuff behind the scenes that just lets me play the piano.
Well, that's really why all this got started as far as courses and whatnot, is for church pianists, because we see all the time singing in different places, different situations, someone gets sick or, whatever, and a church is all of a sudden without a pianist or, someone who is willing or knows just a little bit is thrown into that role. Yeah. And now they're all of a sudden like, oh my, what do I do? How do I learn how to play a lot, as much as I can in a hurry? So that's the goal of what we're doing with the courses. And we hope to, as we continue producing more, to kind of fill out the missing pieces, so that you can say, well, like we had a lot of questions tonight, I am a note reader, I play only by ear, I don't play very well, or, and from wherever you are to say, okay, here's where you are, here's kind of what you're trying to do, you should take this course or this course and then this one or whatever. But that's kind of the plan and the goal. But it takes time.
You guys asked some great questions, so thank you very much. Someone asked, would I play something? It's all set up in the wrong direction, so the piano's on the other side. So you'll hear more Sunday. Does Emily do violin lessons? She does not teach violin, so she travels too much. So she plays violin really well. And our older sisters, who you'll meet, playing the violin Monday night.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's 50 minutes.
Man.
Natalie said that I was supposed to stop at 15.
I said, I think it'll probably only be about 15 minutes worth of questions. I didn't know if you guys would have any questions. So thank you very much for asking really great questions.
All right. You
all right.
all have
We'll see you soon.
Wonderful evening.